Welcome everyone. We at Parul Institute of Law have been regularly organizing various webinars on various issues pertaining to law and the legal fraternity at large. So we often deal with various technicalities of law, but somewhere down the line we sometimes forget about something called morals or ethics. So today's webinar shall be exclusively dedicated to the legal and ethical responsibilities of a manager at the workplace. For that, we have got a very esteemed, very renowned resource person all the way from Italy, uh, Advocate Maria Bricoleri. So she basically practices at the Supreme Court of Italy, and she had graduated in 1989 from the University of Palermo, and in 1993 she obtained her license from the Court of House in Palermo, and she is an expert in economic criminal law, particularly concerning economy and criminal tax law, and she has gained a considerable experience as a business consultant for companies, including insurance companies, in the field of corporate criminal law. She is also deeply connected with academics as well. She is an adjunct professor in the master course tax law at University Cattolica del Sacro Cuore in Milan for the subject of criminal tax law. She also deals with contract law, whereby she teaches a master course in business and management. And ever since 2012, she has taken active part in teaching English on behalf of her university of Palermo as well. She's a very multi-dimensional personality, and we are extremely grateful to have you, ma'am, today at Parul Institute of Law. Before actually handing over the session to you, I would request our esteemed Dean of Faculty of Law, Parul University, Dr. Akil Sayyed, sir, to formally welcome you, ma'am. So,
thank you very much.
Sir, you can please unmute yourself.
Okay. May I?
Thank you, Mr. Faiz.
Mr. Sorry.
Let me take an opportunity to welcome you, ma'am, in our Indian manner. Namaskar, pranam. We are very much delighted that such a distinguished personality from Italy is on the doorstep of Parul University. Ma'am, we also are leading in academics. Our Parul University is one of the largest universities in the Western India. And if I talk as a Dean Faculty of Law, the Faculty of Law offers all these UG and PG programs, including LL Master of Law in 8 different specializations. So when Mr. Faiz shared your CV with me, so the same moment I said that let us invite ma'am, and he invited you for a webinar, but I invite you to be an adjunct professor of Parul University, ma'am. This is my formal invitation. So we will send you the offer letter very soon, ma'am, and it will be very much good to collaborate with a person like you, with the person who herself is an institution itself. I could not understand that whether you are a lawyer or a manager or economist or
both. I am both. I am both.
That's great. So that will be a great inputs and learning for my students also. So I once again thank you for sparing your valuable time and to be here with us. And I once again, welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Please continue.
Okay. So,
thank you so much, sir. Yes, ma'am. You can now take over the session.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, because it's morning in Italy. So, good morning for you and good morning for me. But I want to start my job today with you, beginning from real cases in USA states about this issue that is a professional issue, talking and thinking that your students can be a day manager. Although about on this concrete example of my slides, we can try general principles that are binding in all over the world in this matter. And the concrete example give us a guideline and a framework about these kind of rules into an organization. I have to say sorry, and I please forgive me because I found in my slides a lot of grammatical mistakes. I read it in a fast way, so I please, I understand that it is not nice to read this kind of mistakes, but I want to say sorry about this. Okay, start. I was thinking that you will be a manager one day. So manager, every day, make key decisions that affect the companies for which they work. And they work for shareholders, stakeholders, and for the organization at all. So as a manager yourself, it is essential and understand and adhere to the ethical and legal obligation of your position, future position. What follows in my slide is an overview about business ethics and business law. We will discuss together the responsibilities of management in both areas and what you as a manager can do to ensure that you are acting into the organization both legally and ethically. We will discover that there are parallels that exist between this issue, both business ethics and business law. And these relationships are, and this matter are complementary, in many ways in all over the world. But what is ethics? Ethics are the set of moral principles that guide personal or group or behavior, and is a discipline of philosophy referred to an ethical theory, and moral philosophy. But what are the roots of ethics? As a branch of philosophy can be traced as a back in the past to Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Many of them developed the framework of modern ethical thought. The word ethics, its origin from a Greek word that is ethikos, derived from ethos, that meaning character or disposition of a community, group, persons. But what is business ethics? Business ethics integrates the core elements of ethical philosophy into a business activities and into an organization. Business ethics focuses on the study of moral standards, of right and wrong, and how these standards are applied or not to the production, distribution, utilization of goods and services. These standards are applicable to both individual within an organization and the organization as a complete entity. But in today's business world, managers are expected to behave morally and to know what is potentially good or bad for all stakeholders involved into the company. Business can either positively or negatively affect its stakeholders through its activities, objects, policies. Likewise, stakeholders can also affect business. A stakeholder can be defined as a group, an organization, or even a person that has an interest into the activities of a company. Can be classified as either primary or secondary. Are primary stakeholders those that have a contractual relation, an official relation with the organization, and are central part of its operation. Examples of these are customers, employers, owners, suppliers. Secondary stakeholders are not employed into the company, but they are affected by direction. Example of these include customers, but include also environmental groups and civil rights groups, society as a whole, media, community groups, and special interests of groups. We can do a few examples. When a company that unethically disposes of its waste production, negatively affecting the environmental around it, and therefore negatively affecting the society as whole. Again, an employee who does something against company policy harms primary stakeholders such as the secondary. But in all over the world, not only in the USA, there are an underlying mistrust and skepticism about business institutions. Incessant occurrence of ethics scandals and corporate malfeasance that resulted in defunct company, trillions of dollars in lost wealth, a really national and in the global economy, and governments that are scrambling to provide some semblance of a solution to protect, and in hopes to protect their citizens. These events have reminded to the company the important role that ethical standards play into the organization. As a manager, you too have a crucial, important responsibility in that you are the gatekeepers in this respect for your organization. Organization places a considerable amount of trust in their management. From the CEO on down, managers have a responsibility in ensuring that both they and their subordinates behave ethically. As a manager, it is considered one of your primary responsibilities to both understand and practice ethical behavior in order to meet the company expectation for conduct, set an example of appropriate behavior for subordinates, and minimize the ambiguity that often comes along with the practice of ethics. So, it is essential for a manager to understand the codes of conduct and codes of ethics or any other official set of rules and keep records of related documentation, lay out the expectation and guidelines for ethical behavior. Managers also have a responsibility to ensure that those who report to them understand these rules. An ethical manager is also obliged to set the expectation that any and all ethical unsound practice are not acceptable. Leaders then consistently apply a company code of conduct or a similar program and rules, provide a foundation of moral conduct and trust in their relationship with stakeholders. As a manager, you must also ensure if full understanding of your company expectation for managers in general. Ethical ambiguity is not something that a manager can allow at any level. If uncertainty about a specific policy or procedures or rules, the manager should ask for a clarification and obtain the appropriate documentation as he needed. In some instances, what is ethical and unethical is rather unclear, and this is what we know as ethical dilemmas. Ethical dilemmas are very common today into the workplace. Among the most common types of dilemma based by the managers are truthfulness in communication and agreement pricing policies, management of employee and employee termination. Ethical dilemmas are so common because there are often situations involving decisions that will likely benefit the manager of the organization. The problem is that these decisions may be not only unethical, but illegal at all. So, managers are responsible for ensuring ethical conduct in this situation. As manager, you can set a framework that will help you responsibly make the right decisions when faced with an ethical dilemma. This framework consists in three methodologies: the human rights, the utilitarian methods, and justice. Management that use the human rights method base their decisions on the premise that human beings are entitled to moral rights. This method includes the entitlements of the most basic rights: freedom, health, life, privacy, and property rights. Denying these rights to anyone anywhere is a violation of these rights and is considered unethical. For example, the potential use of child labor outside the USA as a means of production is an example of a serious human rights dilemma. Managers also use the utilitarian method in designing what is ethical. This method includes the evaluation of economic, human, and social cost or benefits. Many businesses classify this method as the cost-benefit analysis. An example would be when, in concrete, a company prepares a budget and decides what amount of these should be allocated to charitable causes or employee health benefits. The third and final method that manager can use is the justice method. This method focuses on the equitable and fair distribution of costs and benefits among persons and groups. Managers have the responsibility their employees' pay, benefits, and work schedules. They will be fair and balanced. Also, they have a responsibility to customer care, making sure that prices are fair and that their products are, as advertised, reliable and softly. At the organization level, the culture of ethical business practice rely heavily upon management willingness to model the behavior and take personal responsibility for its implementation. Management is responsible for encouraging such behavior by rewarding those who behave ethically and punishing those who do not. In fact, ethical and responsible managers are probably the most important component in developing an ethical culture into an organization. But some people contest that ethical standards have little value. These people argue that despite much focus is put on ethical conduct, such provisions alone are not persuasive enough to encourage moral behavior within work environments. And this brings up to the next step, the business law. In 2002, managers at all levels, from very famous company in the United States, such as Enron, Tycoon, or WorldCom, engaged in ethically shameful, irresponsible behavior, such as conspiracy, security fraud, and insider trading and accounting fraud, and were subsequently punished through various civil and criminal action and judgment. employee, investor, and shareholders all demand that action be taken through courts of law, which is what happened. And some of these managers remain behind bars, serving up to nearly 25 years in prisons. As a result of these scandals, Congress of the USA enacted the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which established increased criminal penalties for those convicted of corporate wrongdoing. The Act also requires CEO to certify all financial statements and enforce internal rules of governance on public companies. But while the above examples are the most well-known case in the US states, demonstrating the relationship between ethics and law, they are just few of many cases in real world. The point here is that external shareholder and stakeholders demand that business and its managers behave ethically. Several laws are in place to punish those who do not abide by the rules of society. It is the responsibility of manager at all levels within an organization to implement this code of behavior and enforce behavior. But what is business law? What is law and what is business law? Law is defined in many ways, but we can say that is the principle and regulation established into a community by some authority and applicable to its people. And this is by the form of legislation enforced by judicial decisions. Every society makes and enforces its own laws that govern the conduct of its people, business, and other organizations inside. The United States sets and enforces such laws through the collective actions of its legislative, executive, and judicial branch. The origin of law in the United States, that is the case that we are studying at, is the Constitution, federal and state laws, administrative agency, rules, regulation, federal and state judiciary decisions, because they are a common law country. All managers and officers of organizations are obliged to obey all laws, rules, and regulations. But in the age of globalization, managers must also take into account the laws of other countries, the business law of other countries that are reciprocated and enforced by the country in which business is being conducted. For example, business that origin in another country, for example, Toyota in Japan, yet are doing business within the United States, are subject to the laws of the United States. Again, a business that origin within the United States, like McDonald's, that operate in other countries, for example, France, are subject to the French laws, not American laws. So, United States law and how it is applied to business is complex and very detailed. A comprehensive examination of business law is distant far from the scope of this meeting today, but it's sufficient to state that laws and regulations exist in all countries and that govern nearly every business activity. We can make some examples about the activities governed by business law and ethical laws: e-commerce, tort, intellectual property, contracts, banking, bankruptcy, worker protection, equal opportunity, immigration, labor law, accounting and financial recording, consumer protection, antitrust law, product safety, and a lot of others. But business ethics and business law, we have to understand that are interrelated in the sense that ethical conduct of a business is often enforceable by legal means. This relationship is not unique to the United States, but it is finding all over the world. And we have international organizations like WTO, World Trade Organization, and the United Nations that legally enforce ethical conduct across various countries. If we want to make it in practice, we can use the example of contracts. Using this example, ethical behavior stipulates that those who enter into an agreement have an obligation to honor the agreement. If you as a manager explain a contract to a customer and the customer signs the agreement, you are both obliged to adhere it and according to the stipulation of that contract. Failure to do so by either party will likely result in legal action being taken. It is both ethically imperative for your company of conduct to be honest and forthright about the contract and legally binding in a court of law. We are obliged to do it on a larger scale and in a great thought. Business ethics also intersect with business law in areas such common minimum wage, false claims on product or services, and the hiring of illegal immigrants. All these examples are cases in which the laws plays a part in regulating behavior and goes against a company code's conduct. In addition to this example, when managers both practice and enforce ethical guidelines, they also follow the rule of laws. If you were to look in the future at your company's code of conduct, you will likely find many more parallels with ethical behavior and laws that we have showed in this meeting. As a manager, you are not expected to be a legal expert. You should, however, have basic understanding of labor and discrimination law, such as, for example, how many hours someone can work, the laws on equal opportunity and affirmative action, and the laws that regulate the safety and security into the workplace. The majority of the time of a manager into the workplace deals with the direct relationship with the subordinates. Managers are often the ones responsible for recruiting, hiring, training, and even firing of workers. You should understand the laws. You need it because it's pertinent to this responsibility. When in question about a certain law or regulation, seek the advice of your company's legal department or consult a business attorney before making your choice. This is a good suggestion into business work. So, in conclusion, we have tried to describe a framework of the things on the scene. Through understanding of this material, you have a general meaning of the origin, definition, application, and relationship of both ethics and business law, along the methods that we can use for enforce it. And in addition, you have a framework by which can help you to make the correct legal ethical decisions. You should have a deeper appreciation and understanding of the special responsibilities placed upon you when you is a manager of people in the workplace, and of the impact that your legal and ethical responsibilities as a manager play for stakeholders and society in general. An addendum. I am very, very pleased to meet you today. And I know that my English is full of mistakes, but I want to show you my pleasure and the honor that I have to do this meeting with you. I am proud of it, especially because it is not just the first time in my international meeting, but it's the first time that someone wants to know by an Italian lady, old lady, but not too much, something that is in both areas, laws and economics. I am a full person. I am passionate and I studied a lot and I'm studying again and just now because I want to know the company in judicial and juridical side and economic ones. And I would like to share with you my knowledge about a lot of things that we can do together. So I am very, very happy and grateful for the opportunity of today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that enlightening session. Uh, I've received a few questions from students. I'll,
I am ready.
I'll try to combine them so that you can answer it at one go. So there is one broad question that is it possible to enforce ethics by using law?
Oh, yes, for sure. Especially the code of conduct of a company makes a set of rules into this issue, and you are, if you are a manager, you can set the rules, the practical rules into the company that allow this. Laws from the parliament, for sure, that have to make a provision, a general provision, but enforce ethical conduct is into a company. In the real case of the production or distribution or helping employee in their safety. I don't know if it's okay, my answer.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got one hypothetical question, that is, in case you are a legal manager of some company and you give some advice to the company with respect to any issue. It may be labor issue, it may be related to the environment, and the management does not accept your advice. It does
Okay.
not. So, uh, on what footing basically do you stand there as far as ethics is concerned?
This is a big question, a very big question, because as a manager, a legal manager for justice department, for example, into a company, you have a very big responsibility. For first, because you have to give the advice to the company. Sometimes your advice are not in the sense of business activities of the owners, and they can't believe you. But if a company is a serious company, not necessarily big, but serious company with a set of code of conduct, and your suggestions are in according to this code of conduct, you have to write it. just write it, only because if some criminal action happens in the future and you don't write it, don't leave it on delay to understand that your beliefs are different, you can have serious criminal problem on you. So the suggestion by me, that I am a legal and an economic person, is write it, leave records. If you see some movie on the Netflix and some things like this, you can find a lot of series, movie series that described this situation, and you can find that the help to the manager, sometimes to the lawyer too, is recording it. Leave a message to your organization, a clear message in which you are not in according with the activity in that side, and suggestion, put suggestion for a different way to solve the problem. Always there is, but sometimes it's not so easy as it can.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that really practical answer and also involving the example of movies. So I am sure the students would be able to connect a lot more to it and probably try to see the legal side of things once they watch the movies from now onwards as well.
There are a lot.
So yeah. So we had a few more questions, but those are more or less being covered. So they would be mere repetitions. So I guess we are done with the session, ma'am. So I'm extremely grateful to you for first of all accepting our invitation, taking out the time from your busy schedule to devote to our students, to us, and enlightening us on this really different issue. It's a unique issue which you took up in the webinar. So I personally, on behalf of the university, am really grateful and thankful to you. And I also hope, as the dean sir pointed out in the beginning, that we have a long association with you, a lasting association with you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I am very, very happy and proud, and I am here, disponible for you. Have a
Uh,
good day.
uh,
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.